Okay, so here we're taking again our flat wash, and what we're doing is we're taking the exact same wash when the bottom layer is dry, stepping it down a bit and doing another flat wash over top, and just having one flat wash over another flat wash when when one is dry and you go over top of it, you get a different value of that color. And again, if you wait for them to dry completely, again, you have to be patient, wait for the layer to dry, and you do yet another layer, you'll notice that you'll get a third value. Okay, we're doing the same thing with red here. Okay, so we waited for this flat wash to dry, then did a second one down here. Now we're going to move down a little bit lower. I'm going to reach for the exact same red that I was using before, and I'm just going to do okay, and you'll be able to see that the values are getting richer and richer, more saturated. Okay, so you can get different values when you're using watercolor without even having to add white. You just have to add a little bit more water to make it a bit more translucent. And again, be patient, let the different layers dry as you go. Okay, on the other side here, we tested blending two colors together, doing a gradient. So we used a lot of wet blue and immediately got a fresh brush, brushed on some pink, and then went back in and kind of blended the middle together to get that soft transition. This is nice for a sky. A lot of you guys are going to be blending an ombre sky because you might have different colors in the background. Okay, dry brush is, again, scooping up some dry watercolor without adding any water to it, just a bit on your brush and kind of just like rubbing it off. It's almost like you're trying to clean your brush on a piece of paper, just trying to rub it in, and it creates this really soft texture. Okay, the sad face is here because wet on wet in general is not good when you're doing watercolor. If you put wet paint, like we put white paint on top of a wet background, it just absorbs right into that bottom layer that's wet. You lose it. The one color will melt into the other one. So it's all about waiting for your layers to dry. Here we illustrated something with green wet paint on top of a dry background. So check out the difference. This is wet paint on dry background. This is wet paint on a wet background. If you want nice crisp imagery on top of your sky, you're going to have to wait for your sky to completely dry. Same goes for if you're doing a body of water or anything. Okay, and even white shows up a lot nicer on a darker background once you wait for that background to completely dry. But you may have to layer white several times for it to get really rich and white. All right, so if you are using watercolor, expect these things to happen. You don't want to be doing your watercolor painting and rushing it, trying to get it all done in one day and realize it's all melting into each other. This will happen if you leave your watercolor painting to the last day. Okay, so be patient with it every day. Work on a separate layer, working from the very back, meaning the very back layer of the sky, then building the sky up and up and up, adding the different colors, the different clouds, the different things that you see there. Okay, and periodically take a break from the sky. Maybe start the middle ground next and then work towards the foreground and then go back to the sky when it's completely dry and see what else you can add to it, ensuring that those details won't melt back in. Okay, we're gonna do this now looking at using acrylic color.